It is the week after the longest and busiest week in gaming. That's right, it's the week after E3, and it's time for us to dive deep into everything that happened last week. Hello, and welcome to the newest episode of the YDN cast, post E3 edition. I, of course, am Kyle Viveris from Your Daily Nerd, and I'm joined, as always, by Mr. Austin Bean.
What up?
And, of course, by Mr. Nick Swank.
Hello, the once again videoless Nick Swank, but we'll get that fixed.
Definitely.
So TM.
So the way we're doing this is we're not doing our normal format. We're not going to talk about what we've been playing. We're not going to talk about news because this is just going to be one giant news segment basically, and we're going to break down conference by conference the things that were announced and what we thought of the individual press conferences themselves. We're going to go all the way through. There's not going to be a mysterious rotating segment this week. At the end, we're just going to talk about numbering from 1 to 7, our least favorite to our favorite press conference for this show. So, again, I guess before we get started, this is all going to be stuff from E3, so if you haven't watched any of the press conferences and are worried about, spoilers for... I don't know.
If you haven't seen anything from E3, where have you been?
Exactly. It's hard to miss any of that stuff. If you're listening to a video game podcast, chances are that you're probably pretty in tune with what's going on at E3 right now.
At least hopefully.
Sure.
And I hope some of our viewers have watched the live streams that were all over the place. Apparently, Microsoft's conference was the largest Twitch streaming in history.
Wow.
So
keep that in mind, and also we're going to be talking about the games and things that we were shown at the press conferences, and we are going to give our honest opinions about how we feel about what we saw from the press conferences. So that being said, of course, remember, these are our opinions. These are not going to necessarily align with what you think about these different things. And guess what? That's okay, because we're all people who love video games, and we're all just trying to have a good time. Right, guys?
yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
So I guess the best place to start, we're going to do this in chronological order. We're going to go ahead and start with EA. Guys, what did you think about EA's press conference?
I feel like they have a strong presentation of their stuff. I think the conference in general was pretty okay. I mean, they announced some pretty cool titles. I'm kind of excited for Battlefield 5. And the sequential FIFA games. They had a pretty good conference. What do y'all think?
I think Anthem's kind of exciting.
Yeah, I think so too.
I don't know. Generally, I'm not a huge fan of EA, but I can't complain too much.
Around.
Yeah, I can't complain too much about what they've put out. The new Star Wars game, I have high hopes for.
Yeah, they gave the title, right?
Yeah, Jedi Fallen Order, I think.
Yeah. I have a feeling it's gonna... Yeah, I don't know if it's gonna be Old Republic, but I think it's gonna caddy off of the movies and whatnot. Maybe it's the Fallen Order of Luke Skywalker.
They've actually said that it's going to be set between episodes 3 and 4.
Oh, okay.
EA's Twitter made a statement, quote, "A story around a surviving Padawan set shortly after the events of Star Wars Episode 3, close quote."
Oh, dude. Okay. That's coming out next year, holiday next year.
Holiday of 2019. Yep. I'm hoping that will be good. I'm interested to see what that is. I was actually very interested in the fact that they even talked about Star Wars Battlefront 2 at all. I would have thought
they're still updating that.
Yeah, I would have thought they would have been all right, I thought they were going to be we're going to loosely address, hey, we make mistakes, and we're going to do better about that. But I mean, they talked about new DLC, new free expansion that's coming out for the game with Clone Wars and prequels content is basically what I'm calling it, with General Grievous, Obi-Wan, Anakin, and Count Dooku. Yep. So
It'll be awesome.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see what kind of goes on with that. And I thought it was really cool that, I guess switching off of Star Wars, that Unravel 2 came out, because Unravel I had never played, but it seemed like people really loved that game.
Oh, it had a following like immediately upon release. Someone flipped out when they announced that it came out, like at that moment. If you were watching the conference.
Yeah.
It's cool.
And it was cool that it was like an automatic, like, and you can play it right now. I always really love those types of announcements, because it gets me really hyped up.
Yeah, like, we'll get to it later with Nintendo, but the Fortnite thing for Switch.
Yeah. They talked about a little bit about, kind of in the same vein of Unravel, they talked a little bit about the success of A Way Out with their, what do they call that program? Are they calling it the developers program, basically, where they get, like, these smaller, like, indie kind of creators and studios to make games that are, like, EA gives them money, basically, and kind of helps them out with, like, getting their, like, games out there more, because that's what Unravel was, and that's what A Way Out was. And so now this game, Sea of Solitude, is like the next game that they're doing that with.
I'm really interested to see what they're going to do with that. The gameplay that they showed through the trailer really intrigued me. It seems very dark in tone, but the art style kind of contrasts with that. And I don't know, there was some trippy kind of stuff that was going on, like all the hands coming up through the water up as the character's driving a boat and whatnot. I don't know, there's a lot of things that they can do with that. It's probably a game I'll end up playing.
Yeah, I think it looks really neat.
Yeah, I can agree with that, Austin.
Then they talked a little bit about that. It looks like they're bringing back Command and Conquer, but kind of in a different way as a mobile game.
Yeah, I guess.
It's kind of the way most people play strategy games now.
Yeah, because yeah. I mean, I never really played a whole lot of Command and Conquer, but I mean, like watching that demo, like first of all, let's get it out of the way. The demo itself, like the way they presented it, I think was bad. I think it was kind of tone deaf to the way of how like people really enjoy content now, of like having shoutcasters on stage as like two StarCraft pros are playing Command and Conquer Rivals on stage. Is like that's that seems like a
odd.
I don't understand. I guess I understand why they do it, but I don't understand why they do it. You know.
I also think it's an overused, I guess, marketing strategy.
True.
Where they're trying to hype up a game that doesn't have a following yet.
Yeah, or for a game whose following didn't expect anything new.
Yeah.
Yeah, true. I mean, but my counter to that is that it's Command and Conquer, right? So like that's not like a no-name franchise that's never been heard of before. Like even
it's been a while since a game has come out, though.
Yeah.
I say that.
Even though I'm not really a big RTS player, like even I know the name Command and Conquer. Like that is like if they said like, hey, we've got a Command and Conquer game coming out on mobile phones, and this is what it looks like, and we have these two StarCraft pros here who are going to play a round of it. And they could just not even like shoutcasting. It doesn't have to be shoutcasting. It could literally just be one of the developers on the game being like talking through some of the mechanics and like maybe some of the difficulties or how easy it was to transfer a big RTS game like that to a mobile phone and making it like I don't know. I felt like I would have enjoyed that more than like, oh, he's got his old. I don't even know what to say as a shoutcaster for that game, but it doesn't seem with the times, in my opinion.
Yeah, are they trying to make it an esport?
Everybody's trying to make everything into an esport now. Don't you know that?
No, Kyle, everyone's trying to make everything into a battle royale now.
Oh god. Apparently there were audible boos in the audience when they announced that a battle royale mode was coming to Battlefield 5.
What? I don't believe that. I don't remember
saw
that happening.
That's summed up E3. It was the Meeseek scene from Rick and Morty, but they all had different games mixed over their faces. Well, he dragged me into it.
Obviously, obviously they talked a lot about your sports games, your various sports games. Some very weird things of like, hey, let's interview the. Let's not show off any. It didn't really show off anything about Madden 19, but let's interview the guy who won the Madden championships from last year on stage. And he's standing there very awkwardly holding a championship belt over his shoulder like he's never held a championship belt before. Like,
I didn't know they get belts for that kind of thing.
I didn't know either, but apparently they do. But that was very awkward. I think for me, as far as EA's press conference showing, I think the real big highlight, in my opinion, was Anthem. But I don't think they really showed off the game very well during the presentation. You know, I felt like that because like the format of it was very odd with how they did it. They basically brought out members of their team, the BioWare manager Casey Hudson, Anthem executive producer Mark Dara, and lead writer Kathleen Rootserd. I apologize if I'm saying that name wrong. They basically they did an interview style talking about what the game is, but I felt like at that point we still didn't really understand. Like, we hadn't seen enough of the game in the first place to really warrant a actual interview where they're trying to talk about the finer points of the game. Like, I don't know what the gameplay loop of this game is. I don't know. I haven't seen enough of this game, you know. So that was kind of a weird way to do that. It could have even, like, if they had just literally flipped it where they had like, all right, here's a gameplay demo of Anthem, and showed what they showed at the end of that, and then did the interview thing, I think it would have played a lot better as far as the actual press conference as a whole went, you know?
Whenever EA shows off a game like this that's like heavily in multiplayer, they have a very scripted like showing of it. Like, the gameplay that they had shown was very scripted in a way. Like, they knew what loot they were going to get, and I don't know. It kind of bugs me a little bit. I think the presentation was pretty cool with it. I'm a little excited for the game. They've announced there's no loot boxes, so that's kind of nice to hear from a multiplayer game recently.
From a multiplayer game by EA.
Yeah. I think they figured out by now that we're tired of loot boxes.
I think at least EA has to go with that model. I think like maybe another company could do it in a way where like that's not as loot box, or that is more loot box focused, but I think at this point EA has to go into full PR mode and be like, hey, we are never doing loot boxes ever again after what happened with Star Wars. You know, like
fuck you.
Yeah, pretty much.
We never liked loot boxes.
But yeah, I mean, like, Anthem seems like a BioWare Destiny, which on paper sounds totally up my alley, you know, like that sounds like something I would be very much into. I just want to see what the post-launch support of that game looks like, I guess.
I don't know, I'm digging the soundtrack that we got to hear.
Yeah. I also, mechs are cool.
I'm all about like sci-fi heavy synth stuff. All about it.
Yeah, dude.
Oh yeah.
I just gotta see how the game plays out. Like, is it gonna have content? Like, I know they're gonna have like these massive servers. We're gonna have events going on in all the servers. Like, apparently, like you can be in 2 different servers, and like a storm will roll through. Everyone in the game is gonna experience that, no matter what server you're on. So they're gonna have like these huge events going on. So, is that gonna relate to the story? Or are they gonna update the story just through like everyone playing, or are they gonna have like a set amount of content like Destiny did on release?
True.
That's what I'm worried about.
Very true. So I mean that kind of wraps up EA, which is on the first day. I mean overall I thought it was a very typical EA showing. I don't think there was any big surprise there. I mean Unravel 2 being announced and made available on the same day, I think was the most like a surprise that we saw out of EA, in my opinion.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed the showing though. It was nice to see. I don't know. I like E3 because it reminds me that all of these companies have the potential to be good, no matter how much I dislike them throughout the year.
True. By the way, guys, I finally found a website. I found a thing on Kotaku that has everything play by play, the different games that were shown at each time for each conference. So now we can actually go in order as to what happened in each conference.
Nice.
Okay, cool.
So after that, I guess the very next day, the first showing that we had was Xbox, which I mean, like,
Well, the Microsoft,
I guess technically, yes. And I think everybody's eyes were on Microsoft because I think this was the year that they needed to bring it this year. Cause,
I agree.
Because PlayStation's been cleaning their clock like the past few years, and like pretty much since launch, honestly. And especially with before the press conference even starting, before even E3 even starting, announcing that Crackdown 2 was being delayed again until 2019.
You mean Crackdown 3?
Crackdown 3, yes. My apologies. Crackdown 3 being delayed again.
I mean, you can go play Crackdown 2 right now. That's a pretty good game.
It being delayed already till 2019 before their showing even happened. They needed to bring it during this press conference, and honestly, I think they did a fantastic job.
Well, dude, I totally agree with you on that. Battletoads is coming back. The game everybody's been waiting for.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Also, Cyberpunk 2077 at the end.
Dude.
Oh my god, I flipped out. Like, I didn't know what I was expecting. I thought it was going to be a Watch Dogs 3 when, like, the hacker thing showed up.
Nah, I figured it was going to be Cyberpunk. I didn't think that it'd be Watch Dogs.
Yeah.
I thought they would debut Watch Dogs at Ubisoft.
Yeah.
So they started off with a press conference with Halo Infinite, not really giving any kind of details about it, but basically afterwards they ended up having to come back out and say, hey, this isn't some kind of weird off-brand thing. Halo Infinite is going to be the next actual full-fledged Halo game. Like, it is the sequel to Halo 5 Guardians, and it's kind of going forward with there. I think the reason why they probably went with Infinite, I think there's been actually studies that have been shown that if a game has a number that's higher than like a 4 or 5 in the title, new players are a lot less willing to pick it up because they feel like there's too much ground to make up as far as like the stories and stuff like that go. So it makes sense that they might switch it to Infinite, where it's just like you can pick this game up at any time and play it and you'll be fine, basically.
Yeah, I think they're trying to revitalize the Halo title.
Yeah.
Because they've lost its reputation since Halo 3 and Halo Reach.
True.
I'm gonna say that. Like, as a Halo fan, like, I grew up playing the games. I fell off after 4. And just the game wasn't what it originally was. I think, like, with the change in the art style that they're going for, it's more similar to what we got in, like, Halo 1 and Halo 2.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that classic, like just alien shooter. I mean, we don't know what gameplay is going to look like. I'm sure it's going to play very similarly to Halo 5.
Probably, if I had to guess.
But I hope it returns to its roots. They had to create a whole new engine for it.
And I'm sure, like, the thing with it also will be, this will probably be the first time in a long time that a Halo game is playable on PC as well, right? So, because they're doing that, they still got that Play Anywhere program going on. So, it'll...
Yeah, dude. I'm really excited for that.
Yeah. They showed off Ori and the Will of the Wisps, which is the sequel to Ori and the Blind Forest, which...
And oh my god.
God, that game, the first game is beautiful, but this game, like, this trailer looks fantastic.
First game just blew me off my ass, for lack of a better term. I was not expecting that game to do what it did to me.
I haven't played it. It's worth playing through.
Oh yeah, it's a Metroidvania style game. Like, it's a you play as a character. First of all, it's fucking hard. It's beautiful. The score is amazing. It's hard as hell. You get new power-ups that help you gain access to new areas that you backtrack through. Also.
That's cool.
The artwork is just absolutely gorgeous.
It hits you with an...
Oh yeah, I've seen that much.
It hits you with an up moment within the first, like, 10 minutes of the game. Just like Up does. You know, where you're just like, Okay, I'm in tears. Let's get started. So that game looks fantastic. I'm so excited for that. Then they debuted some footage of Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, which is a game from Software, the guys who do Dark Souls and Bloodborne. And it's a... that looks fantastic.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool. I mean, Dark Souls with samurai swords.
Yeah.
We got Neo last year from, I think it was, what?
Yeah, Team Ninja.
And, well, like, I played a little bit of Neo, and it's good, but I don't know. I guess I wanted that FromSoft touch on it, and now we have Sekiro.
Yeah, that game, like, Sekiro, it, basically, that game was teased at, the Game Awards from this past December, and everybody thought it was going to be Bloodborne 2. So it was surprising to see that, first of all, it was not Bloodborne 2, but in fact it was a brand new game from Software, and it was even crazier, I think, that it was debuting on Microsoft's stage.
Yeah, I normally think that'd be like a Sony thing.
Yeah, that's where I am intrigued. Like, does that mean instead of, like, how Bloodborne was a PS4 exclusive, this will be Xbox, or did they just choose to debut it with Microsoft?
They chose to debut it with Microsoft. I'm like 90% sure that it's multi-platform.
I hope.
I saw an interview with Phil Spencer, the head of Xbox, recently, where he's been talking about how they've been working really hard to kind of expand their global presence, especially in Japan, because he even says, like, in Japan, of the three major gaming companies, they are the away team. It's hard to like get Xboxes into people's homes in Japan, so they've been trying to figure out different ways to meet with Japanese developers to try to show them, hey, we can help you make games for Xbox, and it doesn't have to be like this one-sided thing. And I think that seems like it's going well for them.
Yeah. Another game that caught my attention is Jump Force.
Oh yeah, that was out of nowhere, in my opinion.
Yeah, I was not expecting anything like that. I'm totally gonna pick that up.
What game did you say you cracked out as you said it?
Jump Force.
Oh, Jump Force.
Oh, yeah.
Apparently, I saw an article earlier today that said that apparently Light and Ryuk are not going to be playable in that. They're just going to be part of the story, which is
they're probably going to be like the villains in the story.
It's very disappointing, honestly. I was like, I want to play as them and L, and just kind of like, I don't know what their fighting style would be,
yeah,
but
that's the point. How would they fight? Light would just have his death note.
I don't know, and I don't care. That's for them to figure out.
I bet Ryuk could fight, but I don't know.
This game's either going to go really well or really not well.
Yeah, exactly.
I think having Naruto and Dragon Ball is like in there is enough, but then they're gonna go ahead and add One Piece.
Right.
There's such a diverse cast of characters for this game across all of those franchises.
Just give me Piccolo and I'm good.
They bit off a lot of this.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Dude, they should have added in JoJo.
Oh baby.
Do you think we see any My Hero Academia characters?
It's not a Shonen Jump series, is it?
Yeah, yeah, it is.
Yeah, it totally is. I didn't remember seeing anything from My Hero in the Jump Force trailer, but there was some footage shown at some point of the My Hero fighting game.
Yeah, that's coming out for the PlayStation and Switch, I'm pretty sure.
And Xbox. I think it's all of them.
Yeah, I think it's full cross. I'm not sure.
I'll play, but I'll play it. Whatever. I love that series. Kind of moving on, we got Todd Howard from Bethesda came out and talked a little bit about, gave a little bit of a first look at Fallout 76.
Dude, yeah, they showed that trailer.
Yeah, let's get into Fallout 76 more in the Bethesda press conference.
Definitely, they go into more detail there anyway.
Right. The other thing that they mentioned in the Microsoft press conferences is that Fallout 4 is coming to Xbox Game Pass. Plus,
it already is on Game Pass.
Yep. Now Fallout 4 is
now it is.
Fallout 4 is on Xbox Game Pass, and also Elder Scrolls Online and The Division are all now on Game Pass, which that's kind of awesome how well they're doing with that. Again,
dude, I have the Game Pass. Definitely worth the investment.
It was in that same interview with Phil Spencer over on Giant Bomb as part of their night coverage. They very, very, very interesting interview to see him. I mean, he's the head of Xbox. Talk so candidly and openly about how Xbox does business and the things that they're doing over there. And he was talking about Game Pass and some of the numbers and statistics of how Game Pass has helped their business model. And with their you would think that with games are available day one on launch on Game Pass, as well as you can purchase them, you would think that sales of the game would actually go down. But actually, he said with the two games that have launched in that fashion, Sea of Thieves and State of Decay 2, that their sales for those games have actually been higher than their original sales projections were, even with them being available day one on Game Pass.
Huh. Well, it gets a lot more community involved, and then I guess that can also inspire people to buy the game. They don't want to continue on with Game Pass.
Exactly. That's kind of what he was talking about with it. So, I mean, Game Pass seems like a very good path forward for Xbox and how they're growing their community.
Oh yeah, definitely. I have it, and a lot of the games I play regularly are on the Game Pass. It's a great deal for what it is. I just downloaded Elder Scrolls Online. The expansions aren't free, but the vanilla game still has pretty good amount of content.
True. They talked a little bit about the awesome adventures of Captain Spirit, which is supposed to basically be a free interim kind of game / episode between Life is Strange and Life is Strange 2. Set in the same universe, and some of the stuff that happens in that game is going to be hints towards the future of what the plot is of Life is Strange 2, and kind of there's a lot of apparently Easter eggs in that kind of refer to it. So that's and it's completely free too. Comes out on June 26th, and they kind of gave off this was the first showing of it.
Yeah, it looked pretty cool. Microsoft had a big indie game presence, from what I noticed. They created two new companies for development, and they acquired a couple more, and they're presenting their games on the Xbox Store.
Yeah, that was a really cool thing that I really liked about what they showed off in the Microsoft presentation. Was basically they announced that they had 5 new first-party studios, 1 that was newly formed, and 4 that they had actually acquired. So we have The Initiative, which is their new studio that was formed. They acquired Undead Labs, which are the makers of the State of Decay games, which State of Decay was already a Xbox exclusive as it was, so it made sense for them to acquire Undead Labs. But they also acquired Playground Games, who makes the Forza Horizon games, which is another one that just kind of makes sense. Also, there's a rumor going around that Playground Games is also in the process of working on a new Fable game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I heard about that.
If they didn't announce it at E3, they're probably gonna wait a while.
No, yeah, he kind of talked about that rumor a little bit in the Giant Bomb interview. Basically, kind of they're working on something else right now. We're not ready to talk about it right now. And basically, there was a giant chalkboard behind them where 2 of the guys from Giant Bomb had written their lists of what they thought that Microsoft was going to be showing, and He's like, it's probably one of those games that's on that list up there, and so Fable was one of those games that on those lists. So I think it's pretty safe to say that's probably what it is. In my opinion, the big acquisition that they got was Ninja Theory. Ninja Theory is a big pickup for Microsoft. If you don't know who Ninja Theory is, their most recent game is Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice, which I've talked about on the podcast before. They also they did Heavenly Sword back on the PlayStation 3. They did, what was it, Enslaved Odyssey to the West? Is that the name of the game? But
I'm not sure. Didn't they do DMC?
Yes, they did DMC, Devil May Cry.
They announced the new Devil May Cry.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did. It looks great.
Didn't one of the lead developers say it was like the best game he's ever made?
Yes.
Yeah, they also said it's in the truest sense of the word a sequel to DMC4. So hell yeah.
Okay, cool.
And then they also acquired Compulsion Games, which is making that game We Happy Few, which seems like it's if you haven't seen any trailers of it, it looks like it's a game that was very much inspired by BioShock.
Mm-hmm.
I'm interested in it. They've been showing trailers like all online for like the past 2 years. It's still been in development. I'm really interested to see what the story's going to go with because I'm kind of getting the premise of it.
Mm-hmm.
But I need something else to like pull me on because I don't know if I'll buy it yet.
True. They showed off the first gameplay of The Division 2, which we'll talk about more in Ubisoft's press conference.
Dude, Terry Crews in Crackdown 3. Oh my god.
God,
that was an insane trailer.
So as far as like Crackdown 3 goes, what Phil Spencer was saying in that interview, like, because he talked about the fact that, you know, it's been delayed again. He talked about, like, the game is done, but they've all been playing it, like internally play testing it, and they were saying that honestly, this game, like, this doesn't feel like a Crackdown game, and so they're basically they're pushing it back a little bit to kind of like make it feel like how you felt when you first played that first Crackdown game, and so that's why they've pushed it back and delayed it.
Okay. Well, at least they're putting their time and effort into making a quality product. I'm not upset about that.
True. Got a new trailer for Shadow of the Tomb Raider.
The new Cuphead.
Oh yeah,
DLC.
Cuphead DLC looks fantastic. Oh god.
Totally excited for that. Dying Light 2. I thought that was an interesting trailer.
That was very cool.
Absolutely.
It's like the modern medieval times setting.
Yeah.
Who knows?
I'm really interested to see what they're gonna do with this. It hit me like a curveball.
I don't know. No, I loved the first game. I've played it a lot. I think it's great.
The Gears of War announcement originally started like a little on the downside. Like,
yeah, they showed off a Gears of War pop vinyl game for mobile, or like a trailer for it, and I was like, oh no! Like,
I was like, where the hell is Gears of War going?
Don't get me wrong, I love pop vinyl, but God, I was just like, no, please don't. Gears of War is one of my all-time favorite franchises, so I was like, please don't do this to me, please don't. But then
the PC game seems pretty cool though.
Gears of War Tactics looks very cool. It's basically like, if you've ever played XCOM, just take out all the aliens and humans and just put Gears and Locust in there, and there you go. That's what Gears Tactics is. And it's going to be an exclusively PC game, and I am very okay with that. I'm going to play the shit out of that.
Yeah.
And then the Gears 5 trailer. Ugh. Oh,
Praise.
That was what I've been hoping for. I'm glad they didn't just give us the middle finger the whole time.
Oh.
With these games. Gears 5 looks pretty cool. Like, I mean, it was just a visual cutscene. There was no gameplay or anything. But at least I know it's coming.
God, that was such a cool... Like, it seems like a lot of time has passed between Gears 4 and where Gears 5 seems like it's starting. Because, first of all, JD Phoenix looks fucked up. Like, his face is scarred, his arms
He's seen some shit.
Yeah. He does not trust what's going on. I am very interested to see, like, also the fact that JD Phoenix is not the main character of this game seems like it's a very, very interesting twist on it.
We're just gonna have to see.
I will play all of it.
Yeah. We also had more Metro Exodus gameplay / cutscene.
Yeah,
I'm excited for the game.
I feel like at this point you know whether or not you're getting that game. I don't think I kind of felt like that trailer was like, yeah, this is a cool trailer, but I don't know if it's going to inspire new people
they should have showed that a couple months ago.
Yeah, I think so too.
I'm still gonna pick it up nonetheless. Just Cause 4 was another good one.
Yeah.
Who doesn't like Just Cause?
True.
Oh my god, the Player Unknown's Battlegrounds trailer.
Yeah.
I thought it was hilarious. It was instantly Reddit.
What were you saying, Smike?
Oh, I was saying I've actually never played a lot of Just Cause before.
It is definitely one of those games that is kind of inspired by the old... Have you ever played Mercenaries? It's very inspired by those games, I think.
Nick, you've never played Just Cause?
Not enough to, like, say that I've played Just Cause.
Oh, okay. It's a fun game. There's some crazy physics in it. You can really do whatever the hell you want.
Well,
kind of like Red Faction or Mercenaries, like Kyle was saying.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm all about my janky physics engine. So,
dude, in this you can grappling hook off the things that are flying, then grab a car that's on the ground and like fling it up, like with the grappling hook. Like as long as it's attached to the helicopter, you can blow shit up, do all sorts of crazy things.
Oh yeah, speaking of grappling hook, jumping back to Sekiro for half a second. A grappling hook. We get to go up in a FromSoft game.
Yes, verticality.
You can't jump,
like,
but you get a grappling hook.
Like, I guess you can technically go down in a FromSoft game. You just might die. But now we get to go up.
True. Oh, we also got
things up.
We also got confirmation that Nier Automata is finally coming to Xbox this month.
Yeah, I don't know why that hasn't happened yet.
Probably an exclusivity deal with PlayStation. But I will play it. I will play the fuck out of it.
Wait, what do you mean exclusivity with PlayStation? I thought it launched on PC first.
No, it launched day one with PlayStation 4 and PC.
Okay.
That can we talk about before we move on to the next press conference? Can we just talk about that Cyberpunk 2077 trailer for a second?
Oh, definitely.
I just want to bathe in the aesthetic of that game. Like, I love... first of all, everybody who listens to this show at this point knows how much I love the Witcher series. And then the fact that they are making first of all, a brand new game. That's a first-person game, and it's all technologically out there. Somebody I saw who tweeted who got to play an actual gameplay demo of the game, like behind closed doors at E3, another game journalist was saying that the game shoots and plays like Deus Ex, has the branching story and quest lines of The Witcher, and has the driving of GTA.
Okay.
And that
I'm on board with this.
I am on board. I'm so about all of this.
All of that with a cyberpunky look with vaporwave. You can hear home residents in the background.
I just give it to me. Give it to me. I have watched that trailer at least 5 times since it premiered.
I've been the same way with 76, honestly.
It came up as a advertisement for before a video I was watching. And it's a full 2-minute long trailer. And normally after 15 seconds or after 5 seconds, it's like, hey, you want to skip this ad? And I was like, no, I'll even thumbs up this ad. I want to watch this again.
I'm excited to see what that game has in store for us.
Definitely. I mean, so I think that pretty much wraps up Bethesda.
That was Microsoft.
Or yeah,
That was
sorry,
Microsoft.
Microsoft. God dang. I was thinking of the next, but we're going to Bethesda next. Swank, overall thoughts on Microsoft?
I mean, Microsoft's it's always kind of been the same for me with Microsoft. I am not too familiar with a lot of their franchises, so a lot of the more franchise-based stuff like Gears and Halo, it doesn't really strike me as much as it does its following. But I don't know, Dying Light 2, Battletoads, the Cuphead expansion. I think it was a pretty strong showing. I'm not hooded, but
Austin?
it was definitely a pretty strong showing.
I think as an Xbox fanboy, I guess that's what I would call myself, I'm glad to see a lot of titles that I would like to see are coming up. I think Xbox is really bringing their Hey game back from what they started at, because originally the Xbox One got a lot of flack, but now they're saying that they want gaming to be best played on an Xbox One. And I think with the amount of titles they're developing, that they have in production, the amount of indie development that they are coinciding with their own development, like, I think something special is really going to come from this.
True. I really loved everything that Microsoft had to show. I was thinking about it earlier today, actually. It seems like Microsoft's whole new gameplay strategy with Xbox One and going forward with gaming is not necessarily about okay, we like Xbox is the only way, playing on our console is the only way. They seem very much about like inclusivity in a very bunch of different ways, thinking about the fact like we have their new accessibility controller that got shown off a lot on their floor.
Aren't they trying to develop a service to where you can get console quality gaming anywhere, like a Netflix type service to that with gaming?
Exactly. You got the Game Pass. Their stance on crossplay between games as well, like. And then between the whole Fortnite stuff. I don't know if you guys saw this at all, but PlayStation is getting a lot of shit. So kind of skipping forward a little bit, Fortnite got announced for Nintendo Switch, and you can download and play Fortnite for free on Switch right now. But if you're trying to link your Epic account to your new Switch account, if you've ever played the game on PlayStation, it will not link up with your Nintendo Switch at all.
Yeah, people have been getting locked out of their accounts.
Yeah, because of it. And you think about Microsoft is obviously because they're maybe it's just because they're not in first place, they have the ability to basically be like, hey, yeah, cool, we're on board with crossplay, and we can kind of play with that mentality. Even talking about their crossplay that they've been promoting with Fortnite, and they did it with Rocket League too, and Minecraft. Minecraft is technically a Microsoft-owned IP, but you can play it on any device now, pretty much, and you can play crossplay with all the different versions of it, except for the PlayStation version of it. So it seems like their whole model, and even thinking about the Xbox Play Anywhere thing, where it's hey, you buy the Xbox version of this game, and you can also play it on your PC. It's you can play with your PC friends on specific games. It seems like Microsoft's new game plan and strategy for their gaming division overall is a lot more about inclusivity, and so that's kind of something I've been thinking about the past couple days.
Yeah, definitely.
So let's kind of go ahead and move right along into Bethesda. So first thing they opened up the show with was Rage 2.
They had that performance by Andrew WK.
How are you guys feeling about Rage 2?
the song that they introduced it with, like the perfect song for Rage 2, I wasn't really hyped with it. I think it kind of brought it down a little bit for me. I mean, Rage is a good game, and with Bethesda, I have no doubt that Rage 2 is also going to be good.
Swank, how are you feeling about Rage 2?
I saw a summary of it that was basically he drives a car around and shoots the bad guys. Sometimes from the car, sometimes on foot. And I mean, I didn't play one. I watched more of it than I played. It looks fun. I don't know if that's necessarily like fun equals good, but it looks fun.
Yeah, I never played the first game. I haven't really watched any gameplay of the first game. It's like I never even really got super hyped for the first game. But watching all like the trailers for this, you know, it looks a lot like Borderlands meshed with Mad Max, you know, and
I think if you're a fan of the new Doom games, I think you'll like Rage.
I don't know. I'm even watching more of it. I'm still not super interested by what they're trying to sell. So, you know, that's not to say that it's going to be a bad game. It just doesn't seem like it's something that I'm quite looking for, which kind of, getting ahead of myself, that I kind of felt like my whole feeling with Bethesda's entire press conference is that a lot of it felt like stuff was like, that seems cool for somebody, just not for me. Is I kind of how I felt overall about a lot of their stuff.
Yeah.
On the opposite side of that feeling, though, Doom Eternal. I am ready for a new Doom game. I liked the.
Yeah, I think we all are. Doom was such a great game, and now we're getting another one. It's only going up from here.
Exactly.
We're not going to stop getting new Doom games for a while. They realized we like them.
Yeah. They've been around for how long now?
True. I saw.
Doom really gives you the freedom to do the mission in whatever the hell way you.
I saw a edit of that Doom Eternal trailer where they replaced the soundtrack with Immigrant Song on it. So it's just like it's right when the Doom Slayer like slams his foot down on that demon skull, and it just goes. He's like starts like aiming the shotgun and like, oh, it was very good. I'll have to send it to you guys later to check out.
The best Doom meme I've ever seen was just like a fast-forwarded montage of someone just absolutely going nuts in Doom, set to the Yakety Sax theme.
Yeah, that's pretty good. We got some new details about some DLC for Prey. Did you guys play Prey at all?
Yeah, I liked Prey. I'm excited
I have not
for
played
this
Prey.
DLC.
Is it good?
Yeah, I mean it's kind of along the lines of the Alien game, or like it kind of gives a more BioShock vibe. It's a survival horror game. I'm interested to see what they're going to do with this. Apparently, on the moon, no two players are going to have the same experience. Like it's a mixture of like randomly generated things, and then they're having New Game Plus on top of that. And I don't know. I think it's going to be fun. If you haven't played Prey, I suggest it.
I played a little bit of it, and I wish I liked that game more. There were just I don't know what it was. There were things about I didn't fall in love with that game like I feel like other people who do love that game did, and I wish that I had, because it seemed like a cool premise.
Yeah, it definitely is. The farther you get into it, the more fun it becomes.
I just like that the whole New Game Plus was free, because I mean I don't see why it wouldn't be, but it's just nice to know that some people still value free content.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
We got a trailer for Wolfenstein Youngblood, which is basically like a Wolfenstein 2.5. So Wolfenstein The New Order was the reboot of Wolfenstein that Bethesda did that kind of restarted all of this. Then they came out with Wolfenstein The Old Blood, which was basically set before Wolfenstein The New Order. And it basically talked about how Death's Head and BJ had started their feud. And that started off as a downloadable only game, and then I think it also came out as a disc version eventually. Then Wolfenstein: The New Colossus came out, and so now Youngblood is actually set in the 80s, and you're going to be playing as BJ and Anya's twin daughters. And I think it's going to be you play it in solo or co-op, and it's set in the... Did I say it's set in the 80s? Because that's a pretty cool aesthetic, honestly.
No, yeah, dude. This is the year of aesthetics.
Oh, yeah.
First Cyberpunk did it, now Youngblood.
So, I'm interested to see what that game is.
I mean, a co-op Wolfenstein, that sounds pretty dope to me.
Yeah. True. Obviously there was stuff about ESO. ESO kind of just like was more of like, hey, we just put out a new expansion. Go
hey,
play
our
it.
game's on the Game Pass now.
Yeah, now it's on Game Pass. We have a rework coming out for Elder Scrolls Legends, the card game. So that's
I actually hopped on that. I'm actually really enjoying the game.
How do you like it? On a scale of 1 to Hearthstone clone, what's it like?
Okay, I'm not too into Hearthstone, so I can't attest for that.
Okay.
But the game itself is pretty fun. It progresses kind of like a Bethesda game, to where there are quests in it. There's a story to it. It's more of line of dialogue than card game. Then it goes from like fighting Draugr to bandits to pirates. You get to customize your character and you get to customize your decks like throughout progressing in it. Like I got a Parthenax deck. It has like dragon abilities, and you can get different cards with different things in the Elder Scrolls universe. I liked it. It plays a little bit differently than Hearthstone.
I guess I shouldn't be so critical. Hearthstone, in a way, is kind of a clone of Magic the Gathering, so I shouldn't be as critical about it, I guess. But that was my first exposure.
I think everyone could argue it's a Magic clone at some extent.
Fair. So I guess that kind of leads to the big conversation about Bethesda in my mind is Fallout 76.
I am so excited for this game. I can't tell y'all like how excited I am. I finally get to play a Fallout game with the Fallout community.
I'm gonna let y'all talk about Fallout 76 first before I go on my rant about this game.
I saw one of those. We're getting a new Fallout game. Open the gate. It's online only. Close the gate. But it might be co-op. Open the gate a little.
I've seen that one too.
I don't know. I feel the same way about Fallout 76 as I feel about Jump Force. But I'm worried it might be too big.
I'm excited for it. I think Bethesda's really wanting to try something Fallout franchise, not necessarily to deviate away from their like original game types, because this definitely is a different game. It's not Fallout 5. It's not the next story-driven game that we've wanted, but this is the first time the Fallout community gets to play together and really shape the world around us. A lot of people are worried. It's like, oh, well, what's the point of building a society and a camp if someone's just going to nuke me? It's like, well, those probably aren't going to be easy to get. You can stop someone from trying to get it, or you could just go get it yourself and not let someone else take it. It's really going to become a world to where the decisions you make affect the world around you, like the Wasteland would. This is going to be a unique game because it's not just going to be an MMO. Like it's a little bit different, and I'm gonna trust Bethesda on this. If y'all seen the NoClip documentary on it, if you haven't, I highly suggest it. They go into a lot of detail what is gonna come to this game.
I haven't watched NoClip's documentary about it. Which, if you don't know what NoClip is, Danny O'Dwyer is fantastic. I love Danny. NoClip is basically a YouTube / Patreon that focuses on making documentaries about games, and they're fantastic. Danny O'Dwyer is the head of that. He's a former GameSpot guy, and wow, their Witcher videos fantastic. So I'm gonna go a little bit on my rant as to why I'm not going to be playing this game. Nothing against anybody who is planning on playing this game, and I'm not saying that I think this is going to be a bad game whatsoever. But this game does not seem like what I go to for what I'm wanting out of a Fallout game. This doesn't seem like something that I am interested in getting out of a Fallout game. So like Todd Howard talked about in their press conference about how you can definitely play the whole thing solo. However, in another interview with him, he talked about how by doing that he means solo as in like you can play it by yourself on a server. It's online only. You have to be connected to the server to be able to play the game. You're never going to be alone like you would and that's the way that I want to play those games. I was hoping that this would be, and you know, my vision for what a multiplayer Fallout game is not going to be the same as obviously what Bethesda's is or what Austin's is or what Swank's is. What I was hoping this game would be like, okay, I can play this game solo. All right, now I feel like jumping in a game with Austin, so I'm going to get on the online server. It's the same map, and he and I can play together and just kind of do whatever. But then I can always return by myself playing solo, like off of the server.
What if you can do that?
They've already said that you're not going to be able to.
You can play the game solo.
You can play the game solo, but you're always going to be playing online. You're always going to be playing on a server where there are other people.
Okay.
I believe they've said you can play on a private server. You can create private servers with you and a few friends, or just yourself.
Yeah, but the only issue I have with that is the same issue that I have with online-only games. Well, it doesn't matter the Fallout game. Like, until I moved to Natchitoches for college, I never experienced good internet. I've had dial-up internet my entire life, and there are still gamers that will continue to have bad internet.
Well, then this just isn't the game for you. I mean, there's still a lot of Fallout content. If you're looking for a quality Fallout experience, play New Vegas.
Yeah, and exactly. And I am not saying that this is not. That's not to say that this is going to be a bad game because it's not doing that. It's just not what I personally am looking for in a Fallout game, and that's what I kind of want to like preface what I want to say about all of this is like this doesn't seem like what I want with a Fallout game, and so like because I've been trying to make sure that I can find information about it before I just kind of I don't want to be one of those guys that just writes a game off before I see more of it. I want to get the information first.
Dude, you should definitely check out No Clip's documentary on it. They interview a lot of Bethesda execs and developers. They interview Todd Howard. They ask a lot about the game, and they give out as much as they can give. I think it's going to be one of the most expansive Fallout games ever created. Like, there's over 60 plus different kind of enemies you can find and fight in the game already. There are NPC factions in it. Like, instead of raiders, there's I forget the actual name for it, but there's a group of ghouls that are people who have survived the bombing and are living out their days as scavengers. So, like, I think there's going to be a lot of depth to this game. I think with friends and with enemies, it's going to be interesting. People can set up their own shops in the game. People can sell their own items. So, like, the perk system is going to be way more expansive than it ever has been. So, like, you can they're even adding like a class system to where you can be like a healer or be like more of a, I say paladin type, but in like a Fallout sense of it, like you can, it's turning into a class-based thing, and then you can really really go into each of your skills. They're saying, like, say you have a really high cooking skill, you can open up a shop to where people have to eat. It's a softcore and hardcore survival game, so you have to eat, drink, sleep during the game. So you can sell meat, you can sell weapons, you can get robot vendors for your shop, so you don't always have to attend there. You can set up bases no matter like where you are, like, and you can get resources from these places, and you can build better equipment. You can build better stuff, really expanding upon the stuff they had in Fallout. The building part isn't something that everyone liked, but I think it's something that they're really taking a chance to expand upon. I think this is still going to have a good story. They still have a lot in the West Virginia area that they can expand upon. Like with it, there's a hotel there that has a bunker that the president and the congressional representatives of the United States would go to. That's going to be a place you can go to and explore. It's 4 times the size of Fallout 4's map. There's so much countryside to go through. There's so many locations. There's so many things you can do. And then while running into other players who are trying to achieve the same kind of objectives you are, someone trying against you. Just like there are NPCs of that in Fallout games, but in this turn, it's real people. I think that's really exciting.
I'll defer to your judgment because I think you know more about the Fallout franchise as a whole than I do, and you seem to be, like, you have watched a lot more, and so I need to go check out that No Clip documentary. Just based off of what I've seen from what I saw from Bethesda's press conference, it didn't have me as excited as other people, I think, and maybe it just means that I need to find more stuff out about it, and maybe I'll just like. I picked up Fallout 4 day one. I liked Fallout 4 quite a bit. Maybe this one will just be one that I'll wait until reviews come out for and just kind of see what other people are feeling on it. Again, not in any way saying that I think that this is going to be a bad game. It just isn't, like, from what I've seen of it so far, it doesn't seem like it's for me.
I totally get that. A lot of people like the story-driven aspect of Fallout. And I don't think that's going to lack for the most part. Maybe in some aspects, but I don't know. I'm just going to have to wait and see what Bethesda's going to do. I'm probably going to buy it at release, try and get the good stuff before everyone else does.
Fair. Let's see. Got shown some Elder Scrolls Blades, which is a Elder Scrolls game for your mobile device.
I thought that was an interesting release. I don't think anyone was expecting that. You can play it in portrait mode.
I thought, yeah, it was funny. They were like, yeah, you can play it in portrait mode, so you can play it during, like, business meetings and stuff. And it was funny. I was watching the Giant Bomb live stream of that press conference, and they were like, yeah, so now instead of thinking that you're playing a game during a business meeting, they can think you're still you're texting in the middle of a business meeting like an asshole. So that was.
I'm probably gonna play it. It seems pretty cool. I think it's coming to Switch, Xbox, and PlayStation as well. Like, it's not just a mobile game. Like, you can pick it up, whatever console you're on, and you can play it.
Yeah, I don't know. Seemed like a weird thing. Next, they announced Starfield, which is a brand new IP. They just put out a little teaser trailer for it. I'm very excited for it.
Oh, I am too. They've been thinking about this for a while, so they're going to do with a new IP.
Right.
Bethesda's already done some great things with existing IPs. Ooh.
And then, last but not least, they put out a teaser for Elder Scrolls 6.
Hell
Yeah,
yes. Oh my god. It doesn't even give much, but that font title is very nice. I like it. The music was really cool.
I hate that I'm not as hyped up about that as everybody else is. Because I was like, okay, you showed a wide-sprawling, like, mountainous fantasy, like pan shot, Elder Scrolls 6, no subtitle or anything, played the Elder Scrolls theme music in the background, and that got people hyped as fuck. And I was just like, okay, yeah. The thought that anybody would not think that game was coming at some point, I think, is crazy to me, I think.
Yeah, I think this was mainly just so they could announce the development. It's like, hey guys, we're actually going to make this, but it's probably not going to come out for a while.
I don't think it's coming out until next generation of consoles.
That might be true. Uh, Skyrim's release date was on 11/11. People, oh, it's probably going to come out 2/22/22.
Yeah, probably.
I would totally believe that.
All right, so I mean that pretty much does it for Bethesda. Swank, final thoughts on Bethesda's press conference?
I don't know. I wanted to like Bethesda's press conference more, but there wasn't really a lot in it that appealed to me other than the Elder Scrolls stuff. Like, Doom looks nice, Rage 2 looks nice. I don't really know much about Prey. I never got into Wolfenstein too much. So, like, I was pretty much just here for Elder Scrolls.
That's fair. Austin?
I loved this conference. It started off a little iffy with Rage 2. I didn't know really what to think of it at first. Yeah, it was just awkward, the whole thing. But they announced a lot of IPs that I'm really into. Like, I really like Doom. I really like Wolfenstein. I really like Fallout. And I really like Elder Scrolls. So I'm pumped for anything they're going to throw at me. Bethesda is one of my favorite developers, and I think this is a good conference for them. They have a lot of good titles coming, and it definitely got me excited for it.
Yeah, I think I kind of fall more along with what Swank is feeling. I kind of felt a little disappointed with it. I guess I was hoping for more like oh shit moments of like, and I guess that's me putting unfair expectations, but. I mean, kind of like what you said, Austin. Bethesda is one of my favorite game companies, so I have a little bit bigger expectations for them, I guess.
Yeah, I totally get that.
And I don't, and in my mind, they didn't meet my expectations, which doesn't mean that isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's just maybe I need to temper my expectations better, I guess. Is it? But overall, I kind of felt like how Swank does, where it's a little bit more disappointed, I guess. So very next day, we start off the day with a very lackluster showing from Square Enix. A 45-minute press conference showing off a bunch of shit that's already been announced.
I mean, at least they're showing content that they've been working on. I was happy to see Kingdom Hearts 3, honestly.
Yeah.
I'm just sitting here waiting for that game. That's really all I cared about from that.
So
Kingdom Hearts 3 is pretty much the only reason I was interested in the Square Enix conference, but it was enough for me.
Yeah. I mean, it started off with Shadow of the Tomb Raider because that's what you need to start off with. That's their big game that they're pushing right now, and.
I haven't been playing the new Tomb Raiders. I really don't know about them.
They're pretty fun. I like them. I think they're very similar in style to the Uncharted games, they're a lot more serious than the Uncharted games.
I'll have to check it out. I know they're with the Game Pass, so I may pick that up.
They talked a little bit more about the awesome adventures of Captain Spirit and how it's going to connect to Life is Strange Season 2. This was my favorite part of Square Enix's press conference. They showed off a trailer for a new game called Babylon's Fall, which is being co-created with Platinum. And if you don't know who Platinum or what they do is, shame on you. They make Bayonetta and Vanquish and Nier Automata and a bunch of other really cool games. Babylon's Fall looks very, very cool. That one trailer, that was like... It was very good. Very excited. Got some more stuff about Just Cause 4. Guess what? It looks like Just Cause 4, except with seasons and weather stuff.
I mean, yeah.
Just Cause with more stuff. That's what every Just Cause game has been.
Right. They showed off a trailer for this game called The Quiet Man, which started off live action, then switched to CG, and then back to live action, about this dude that apparently is deaf but kicks ass.
I'm always about it.
We got a trailer for a crossover between Final Fantasy XIV and Monster Hunter World. a new trailer for Dragon Quest XI, and a new trailer for Octopath Traveler on the Switch, and that's it. Oh, there's Kingdom Hearts. There was the same Kingdom Hearts trailer from Microsoft's press conference the day before. Which is really weird in my opinion. The fact that the release date was in the Microsoft one too.
Yeah, I know.
But it's just like, that's very weird in my opinion. That especially since it's a Square Enix game, that they wouldn't at least show off like a different trailer. Like obviously they kind of skipping ahead to Sony, they show off a new and different trailer at Sony's press conference, but it's but not at your own press conference. I guess I don't understand what the point of besides after that, that's it. I don't understand what Square's point of doing a press conference this year was, in my opinion. A lot of this stuff could have fallen into somebody else's press conference, or could have been done on a different date and would have, I think, stood out more as an actual news story. Like if Square had taken the approach that Nintendo does with their Nintendo Directs, and Square said, let's say next month Square was like, hey, on this date we're going to have a hour-long video that's going to talk about some of the coming games that are coming to consoles and PC here in the next year or so. And just in an hour like that, that would have stood out more, I think, in a news cycle, in a video game news cycle, than it just sitting here right in the smack dab in the middle of all of the press conferences of E3 and really not showing anything new.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how you guys feel about that.
I'm just happy with Kingdom Hearts.
That's pretty
3.
accurate to how I feel.
That's all I gotta say.
Yeah. So I felt like it was very disappointing, especially not to hear anything about the Final Fantasy VII remake, which I know is still years off from being done, but the fact that
How many E3s ago did they announce that?
Several. But I don't know, man. It didn't make a whole lot of sense to me to have it, I guess. So I don't know. Final thoughts on Square Enix, Austin?
Kingdom Hearts 3. Excited. That's about it.
Kingdom Hearts 3. Nick Swank.
Honestly, you can just play Austin's clip twice because it's exactly how I feel about Square Enix.
Fair enough. Survey says Kingdom Hearts 3.
It wasn't bad, and the fact that Kingdom Hearts 3 was there was enough for me to like it more. But, like you said, the exact amount of Microsoft.
Exactly.
Yeah, there just wasn't really enough content for me either.
Yeah.
So I guess that moves us on to Ubisoft.
Oh yeah, Ubiquitous Software.
I liked this conference.
I actually really did too. They started off with Just Dance 2019 because, of course, they did.
Nintendo Wii.
I can't believe it's still coming to the Wii.
I think that's fucking awesome.
The original Wii, not just the Wii U.
I'm gonna buy it for Wii fucking me.
We got a new cinematic trailer for Beyond Good and Evil 2.
That game looks really exciting.
That game seems crazy, man. I want to play that game.
I didn't play the first one, but this one immediately has me sold.
Same. I want to play this game.
Yeah, that cinematic trailer had me hooked. So much was going on. I was like, the hell? I don't know these characters. I don't know this environment, but I'm interested. And then Joseph Gordon-Levitt came on stage to talk about his foundation. It's going to have so much there's going to be so much community involvement in the aspect that it's creating the culture of the world.
Yeah.
Which I think is really cool. You can upload your own music, you can upload your art, and like stuff like that, and it'll show up in the game. I think that's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like, it's a really unique art design. It's gonna increase like the sense of community that the game will have.
True. Moving next, they talked about Trials Rising, a brand new Trials game. If you've never played the Trials games, they are basically like what's the best way to describe these games? They're like kind of like motocross, right? Like
they're motocross platformers.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe it. And they got watching that trailer, if it became very apparent to me, like, yeah, they made another one of those games. That is very very much a Trials game, and I'm like, cool.
I'm excited. There was more stuff on The Division.
Yes.
The Division 2, which looks pretty good. I wasn't really into the first one, but
I wasn't super into the first one, but watching all that stuff they showed off for The Division 2, I'm on board. I'll play it. I will.
The Division 2 DLC will be completely free.
And they're getting raids.
Yeah.
That's what I like to hear. Free DLC. That's what more.
True. I would love to do some Division related content for the YouTube channel. I think that'd be really cool for us to do like the four of us all the three of us and Logan and just doing Division content. Because I have it on PC. I mean, we could maybe just Game Pass on Xbox, and because now the first Division is on Xbox One Game Pass.
It is.
Yeah.
That's an option. There was a new trailer and some showing for the new Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle Donkey Kong DLC.
But are they going to announce Battle Royale?
Yes.
Mario and Rabbids.
Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle Royale. That game I still really want to play. I've heard really good things about it, but I just haven't picked it up yet. They gave Mario a gun, so seems worth.
It's ambitious.
They showed off a new trailer and gameplay for Skull and Bones, their new pirate game. That game is like straight up based off of the tech from Black Flag, Assassin's Creed 4. I don't know. I don't know if I want to play a full game that is just the boat sequences from Assassin's Creed 4.
It's probably going to have better ship combat than Sea of Thieves.
Possibly.
It'd be interesting. It doesn't really appeal to me.
True. We got a new trailer for their VR game Transference that Elijah Wood is working on.
Yeah. I mean, that's really cool. I'm glad to see more support. I don't have any of that technology, so props to you if you do.
Right. We got a look at Starlink Battle for Atlas.
Okay, this looks pretty cool.
Which is kind of a new toys to life style game of you have a ship that's attached to your controller, and you can remove parts of the ship and add them on there. And they announced that they have a team up with Nintendo, and they've brought Fox and the Arwing.
Yeah.
As
Miyamoto
playable.
came out to accept a miniature for the game. I'm excited to see Star Fox in this game. I may not pick it up, but I think it's a really good addition.
Yeah.
To the series.
For Honor is getting a new game mode and a new expansion that includes new Chinese warriors, which seems very cool. Also, you can get the starter edition of the game is free on Uplay on PC for a week. Probably by the time you hear this, it's probably not available anymore for free. Sorry.
My thing. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was gonna say, my thing with For Honor, I feel like it might be a little too late.
Yeah, I think that they're hoping that it's going to be Rainbow Six Siege kind of deal, where it's like kind of like the community dies down for a little bit, but then comes back in a full force where everybody's still super obsessed about this game.
Yeah.
So that kind of seems to be like what the theme of Ubisoft's show was, like, hey, we have these games that you love, and we're going to continue to support them for a long amount of time before we move on to the next one. That being said, there's only one game series that doesn't follow that formula, and that's going to be Assassin's Creed with a new Assassin's Creed game.
This looks dope, honestly.
Assassin's Creed Odyssey takes place hundreds of years before Origins and is set in ancient Greece. What did you say, Swanky? Cut out.
I said I'm all about it. Anyone that knows my tastes in gaming knows I've been all about pretty much every Assassin's Creed game ever. So keep them coming.
Yeah, dude. I'm excited for this. They're making it more into an RPG similar to The Witcher than a traditional Assassin's Creed game, which I think is a good direction for the game in general.
Yeah, that's kind of that's what they did with Origins.
Yeah, I got a chance to play a little bit of Origins the other day, and as someone who's the Assassin's Creed game pretty much to date, I'm okay with all of the changes made.
I've heard really good things about Origins, and so I guess that's kind of what disappointed me a little bit too.
Fun.
It's what kind of disappointed me a little bit to hear that a new Assassin's Creed game was coming already only a year after Origins came out, because I felt like they benefited so much from taking that year off in between Syndicate and Origins. They benefited so much from being able to like take a little bit more time and make Origins a very good game from what it seems like, and it seems like Odyssey kind of is still playing off of what Origins started. So I'm hoping that it's not going to be another case of like the same like franchise fatigue that we were feeling before they took that break in between Syndicate and Origins. But I don't know.
I think Ubisoft found how they want to make Assassin's Creed games, and I think they're on a roll.
Yeah, I'd agree with Nick on that. I mean, as long as it ends up being, keep them coming.
Yeah.
Like, it takes everyone about a year to play these games anyway, so.
True. I have no problem with it. I just hope that it's not falling back into the same habits is my thing. But I mean that's pretty much it from Ubisoft. Austin, final thoughts on them?
I'm impressed with some of the IPs that they've given out. Beyond Good and Evil 2 has me stoked. The new Assassin's Creed has me stoked. I think overall they had a pretty good show. That's my opinion.
Ubisoft and Bethesda, I feel beyond, but also at the same time like very differently. The only thing I really was watching the Ubisoft press conference to get out of it was Assassin's Creed, but like every other thing they really talked about, I kind of want to go play them now. Like Beyond Good and Evil 2, The Crew 2. I never played any of the ones, but now I want to.
Yeah, I thought Ubisoft showing, well, it didn't have anything I thought that was like super surprising. I thought it was a very, very solid showing, and I was very impressed with what they had to show.
Yeah, also Transference looks creepy as hell, and I really want an Oculus for it.
Yeah, it looks scary.
Yeah. I am all about horror, and VR sounds like heaven to me.
Yeah. So rounding out that day, we had Sony's press conference, which was very odd, in my opinion. I felt like the whole thing... So before the press conference had started, like a few weeks ago, they basically announced that this press conference was going to revolve around 4 pillars for their showing. Last of Us Part 2, Ghost of Tsushima, Sucker Punch's new game, Death Stranding, Kojima's new game, and Spider-Man, Insomniac's new game. And also, I mean, Last of Us being Naughty Dog's new game. and they were going to show a couple of things in between, but those were games were going to be their main focus. I felt like the pacing of this show was very weird. Did you guys agree with you guys?
It was kind of odd with the pacing. The musical.
Watch Shoney's show.
Oh, you didn't?
Yeah.
It had like 2 musical performances that were just kind of odd. Like they had a banjo solo for The Last of Us 2, and they had, I don't even know what that instrument is. It was like an oriental type for the Ghost of Tsushima? Tsushima, okay.
They were I mean, those were both the composers of the music for those games, and I thought they were both very well done. It was just very they were very interesting. Also, okay, so they led off. It started in a giant tent outside, where which was very weird. The way I was like, why are they doing it in a tent? This seems like a weird thing. But then the Last of Us 2 trailer started, and the trailer starts off it looking exactly like the tent that they're in there. And so I was like, oh, okay, I see what they're doing with this. Last of Us 2 looks very good. It looks like it's going to be more of The Last of Us, and I think that's exactly what that game needs to be.
I think it's exactly what the people want from it.
And then they went through the trailer is very good. It shows some story, it shows some gameplay, and then it ends with more story stuff. And then it just kind of ends, and then it cuts the press conference itself cut to this weird thing where it was like basically some PlayStation people outside of the tent at a different booth thing where they were talking about other announcements. And apparently while this was going on, they were filing everybody out of the tent into PlayStation's actual presentation inside of wherever the actual presentation was. And so while they were talking about some announcements that were PlayStation related at that booth, those people who mostly were game journalists were not getting to hear all these the announcements that were, and they weren't super duper important that you couldn't get anywhere else. I mean, they were just they're Call of Duty related and other third party related things, but still, that's a very weird choice. The fact that you're going to talk about some stuff while these other people are going to, or your game journalists are moving into a completely different room, and they're not getting the same information that people who are watching the stream are getting. I felt like that was a very weird choice.
I guess for the people there, they really wanted to show off just the IPs that they've been working on. Like all the content that they're showing them is probably best live.
True.
So they're trying to give something to the audience that is watching that can't experience those things.
Definitely. Then they showed off, once they got into the other stage where the presentation continued, they showed off the Ghost of Tsushima, and I'm in love with that game. That game looked fantastic. I loved everything about it. They confirmed that there's also going to be a Japanese voice acting audio track that you can use instead of the English voice acting if you want to. And I will definitely be doing that and turn on some English subtitles, and I'm going to be good. I'm on board.
What a weeb.
I'm on board, man. That game looks phenomenal. Both the actual gameplay of it, but also the the actual graphics of it just were beautiful.
So it looks pretty good. I actually watched this conference the least out of all of them. I mainly was excited for Spider-Man, but we can get to that later.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks pretty cool. The visuals are really nice. Visuals don't make a game, though.
True. They announced a remaster of Resident Evil 2, which, that's cool. People have been looking for that for a while.
Yeah, that's been a long time coming, but I'm glad it's finally got some concrete, hey, we're doing it.
Yeah. I
haven't played any of the Resident Evil games, so I'm not really surprised.
Resident Evil 7, very scary. Can confirm. They showed off a different Kingdom Hearts 3 trailer from the Microsoft and Square Enix trailer that featured Pirates of the Caribbean world. And
Yeah, it did.
that looked very good. Those CGI versions of all those actors look a lot better than they did in Kingdom Hearts 2.
Right, I'm very impressed with what they showed. Like, the art style for that specific world is so gorgeous.
Yeah.
I like how Kingdom Hearts like variants on styles and creativity based on the kind of world that you're in. And like, since Pirates is very realistic, it looks more edgy.
Definitely. Then they moved into their third pillar of this press conference, Death Stranding.
Bruh.
Guess what?
Dude.
Death Stranding still looks weird.
Yeah, I don't know what to think. Hey, finally a game that shows realistic carry weight.
Yeah. I saw somebody who edited the Death Stranding like logo and changed it to instead of it saying Death Stranding, it said Uber Eats on there. I don't know, man. Like the gameplay was weird to me. I don't know how I felt about watching the game. Like, it's very apparent that obviously Norman Reedus' character is a delivery man of some kind, which is even funnier that he's a delivery man because he's got a baby. He's the delivery man. You know. Yeah, man. Go if you haven't already. Go watch that new trailer for Death Stranding. How many times are we gonna say that before this game comes out?
Dude, I don't know. Too many times. I still don't know what to think of this game. Like,
I hate to be one of those guys, but whatever is being cooked up over there at Kojima, I want it. I want all of it.
I mean, I'll probably play it.
So
Get it.
Whatever Chef Kojima is cooking, I want it all.
So before we move on to the next part, like the rest of Sony's press conference, I want to say this. Do you guys think it's weird that before they did this press conference, before E3 even started, Sony said, "Look, we've got 4 games that are going to be the pillars of our press conference," and 3 out of 4 of those games they didn't say anything about a release date for them. I feel like that's very weird. Like I feel like we didn't get like. Between Death Stranding, Last of Us 2, and Ghost of Tsushima, we didn't get a lot of new details about what these games, like, when they take place, like, what they're about, what the style... Obviously, you can infer from watching the trailers as to, like, okay, obviously all these games are third person, you know, but... and the style of game that they're probably going to be, minus Death Stranding, still don't know what the fuck that game is, besides a delivery simulator. Sorry, side note, I saw a picture the other day that was like the scene from SpongeBob where he's carrying the Krusty Krab pizza, and the caption was Death Stranding 2018.
My God.
But I thought in my mind, I thought it was very weird that you would go ahead and say, hey, these 4 games are going to be part of our pillars of what we're talking about at E3, but 3 of them we're not going to give a whole lot. We're just going to show these trailers, and that's going to kind of be it, not really give a whole lot of new information about.
Yeah, there's not a lot of stuff that's going to be new for Sony based off of this conference. At least not in, like, the upcoming months, year.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that just struck me as very odd, in my opinion, that...
Sony's been keeping to themselves a lot lately. It's been really weird.
Right. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Or maybe it's just a thing.
It's just a thing, man.
We got...
Anyway, Death Stranding looks good.
Yeah.
Ish. I don't know.
We got an announcement for Neo 2, which that came out of nowhere, but I'm glad that it's a thing.
Sekiro?
What's that? Yeah,
I thought we already heard about Sekiro.
Shut up. And they closed out their press conference with Spider-Man.
Spider-Man. Game still looks awesome.
That's
Still excited.
what I've always needed in a Spider-Man.
I hope that with this Spider-Man at some game, I was really hoping that Miles Morales would show up in that trailer. Like at the very end when Spider-Man's getting his ass kicked in that trailer, I was really hoping that Miles Morales would show up and help him, like, save the day. But no, he just very much got his ass kicked by the Sinister Six.
I'm really excited to get my hands on this game eventually.
Oh yeah, me too. Me too.
I mean, I love the Spider-Man games. And
Exactly,
like, as long as they... Oh, what were you saying, Nick?
No, I was just agreeing with you.
Oh yeah, like if they keep the same formula like the Spider-Man games have had, I think with what I don't know, I think they're gonna bring a lot of new content to the table while also adhering to what Spider-Man games have always been. And just seeing more gameplay and more story trailer of it just reaffirms that. I think it's gonna be good.
True. But I mean, that's pretty much it for Sony. They were very steadfast to their 4-pillar system. Austin, final thoughts about Sony's press conference?
I was happy to see more about. Okay, The Last of Us 2. I'm excited for that. I was never really that far into it, but I understand that there's a huge following behind it, so that's just exciting for that world. I was excited to see more Kingdom Hearts 3 stuff, which I'm just excited for that game in general. I'm still indifferent about Death Stranding. Like, I want to be excited for it. I just don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, true.
And that's really it. And then Spider-Man. It's Spider-Man, dude. Like, the game looks great. It looks fun. It makes you really feel like Spider-Man.
I've got to get those pictures of Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's about it for me, though.
Swank, final thoughts on Sony?
Okay, well, I didn't think I was going to care for Sony's press conference that much. I'm not a big fan, I mean, Call of Duty Black Ops 4 is going to be good. I'm just not a huge fan of Call of Duty in general. But, I mean, it's going to be a Black Ops game.
True.
Death Stranding looks awesome. I want all of it. Ghost of Tsushima looks great. More God of War material, absolutely. Kingdom Hearts 3, yes, please. I've also said that with Square and with Microsoft, though, so... I mean, same shit, different conference, except for Pirates of the Caribbean. Last of Us Part 2, yes. I know I joked about Neo 2, but it's going to be fucking awesome. And Spider-Man, baby.
Oh, yeah, Spider-Man.
Give me pictures
Like,
of Spider-Man.
Sony had a very, very solid press conference. And they surprised the hell out of me.
Fair enough. Alright, so that leaves our very last press conference of E3. Everybody's favorite, Nintendo.
Yeah, baby.
I mean, so let's start off right off with it. Super Mario Party. Coming to Switch.
I had a little lack of faith in Mario Party after whichever one it was on Wii U.
10.
But it looks great.
It looks very interesting for sure. Got some DLC coming for Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Didn't play that game, but it looks interesting.
I know there's a big following behind.
Yeah, everyone I know that's played Xenoblade 2 is for this, so...
Finally got some information on the Fire Emblem game that's coming to Switch called Fire Emblem Three Houses. And that game looks phenomenal, and it looks like they're changing up some of the actual gameplay of Fire Emblem with it.
I thought I was going to buy a Switch for Odyssey, but I might just hold out a little bit and have this be my first purchase, because the last Fire game we got, quote-unquote, which was Radiant Dawn on the Wii, I still play that game, like, now.
Yeah.
So, I can't wait.
let's see, Fortnite came out on Switch, and I was actually playing that a little bit on my Switch before we got started with this recording. I died. I
How
came
is
in.
it on Switch?
It's Fortnite. It's it. I mean, obviously you have to get used to the control differences, but I mean it's still very similar to how you would play it on PlayStation or Xbox, except it's on your Switch. Yeah, I mean that it is very much Fortnite still. I don't. There's nothing really to really say about it. It's Fortnite on Switch.
What if they add Link to the game, like they added to Skyrim?
That'd be kind of cool.
Or add Mario, where you can be Mario in Fortnite.
Hollow Knight is now available on Switch, which I've heard a lot of really good things about.
That's cool.
It's a great game, and I think it's going to do well on Switch.
Yeah, I think Switch is really a platform that really fits that game.
Exactly. Yeah, I thought the same thing whenever I heard about it.
The Splatoon 2 Octo expansion is now out. They've got some Octoling amiibo coming.
Yep.
Let's see. I talked a little bit about Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. November 6th.
I think those games are going to be great.
Yeah, I think those games will be fine. I don't know if I'm sure I will play them, and I'm sure I'll like them.
I don't know how much I care about the Pokemon Go connectability, but I mean, I'm not gonna bitch about it. I probably just won't use it very much. The game itself looks great.
Yeah.
They showed off a trailer for Killer Queen Black, which is coming out later this year on Switch. If you don't know where Killer Queen is a game that is it's a multiplayer arcade game that there are not very many machines of. It's basically it's 5 versus 5, and it's basically like two. I think it's pretty much like two machines play up against each other. And from what I understand, people love that game. So it's really cool that a version of that game is kind of coming to the Switch exclusively. Overcooked 2 is coming out on Switch this year. There's a new mech game coming to the Switch called Demon Ex Machina, which is a fantastic name. That game looked really, really cool, honestly.
Yeah, I didn't know what to expect, but I ended liking it, you know?
Yeah. And one of my favorite announcements from this E3, Dragon Ball FighterZ is coming to the Switch this year. I am so about... I'm mad that it wasn't a part of the original launch, that it didn't come to Switch with the same day that Xbox One and PS4 did. And then we have the big thing from the big and from Nintendo's press conference.
Boy.
Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. It's the new Smash Bros. For Switch. And guess what? It's the most ambitious crossover since Infinity War.
It's got literally everybody.
It's got literally every character that has ever been in a Smash Bros. Game, including Snake. And that's all that really matters.
I like that they're updating characters. Link was clearly Breath of the Wild Link. Mario definitely had Cappy.
It looked like between let's look at Link, Young Link, and Toon Link. It seems like now with the changes that they've made, they all have distinct different play styles rather than being the same character with a different skin for each character, and that makes me very happy.
Yeah, it seems like they're changing up the fighting of some of the characters. They're going to make the game play a little bit than it has in the past.
There's rumors that Ganon's going to be getting a sword fight.
Yeah.
I watched an invitational tournament that happened, and the game looks great. They have a little thing where if a move is a guaranteed kill, they can't possibly recover. Sometimes it'll do a little zoom in selection thing.
Yeah, I saw that, a zoom in slow-mo kind of thing.
Yeah, a critical impact thing. I think it's awesome.
They talked a lot about how, like, they kind of made a marking on all the characters that they call Echo Fighters, basically, who are, like, they are characters that have the same kind of play style as other characters that already existed, but they play slightly different than those characters. Like, for example, Lucina and Marth, and Pit and Dark Pit. And so they announced that a new Echo Fighter was coming, and that's going to be Daisy for Peach.
Of course, which is fine, I guess.
They showed off some new gameplay of the Inklings, and then the last thing that they showed was a very awesome trailer for Ridley. I thought that...
I really hope that bit where they, where Ridley threw Samus into the ship and then just rammed it, I really hope that's, at least incorporated into Ridley's Final Smash.
I think that is Ridley's Final Smash.
I fucking hope.
Can we just talk about that reveal trailer for Ridley as a playable character? Ridley...
It was so creepy.
Ridley fucking murdered Mario.
Yeah.
Like, let's be honest, like, that was just like, there was nothing left of him except for Cappy. Cappy was just sitting there. It would have been so funny if Cappy's eyes just kind of, like, came up on the hat, like, just, like, looking around, like, all freaked the fuck out.
That was, for a Smash Brothers related trailer, that was very dark.
Oh, yeah, definitely. But, I mean, like, they basically said there's over 10,000 updates that they've made to the game, like the characters, and man, they certainly went into detail about a lot of it. I was actually very surprised at how much they talked about, like, little details, like, look, Ike has 2 different voice styles that you can use for him now. Or they've updated his the way he talks. Can you hear the difference? And then they shared it, and I'm like, no, I really can't hear the difference between it. Like, barely, but they really went into detail about those, like, little things, and I was really not expecting it.
Yeah, I mean, from the looks of it, this might be the last Smash game we get, and it might just start getting updates, and I'm completely okay with that.
Right.
Yeah, as long as they're on the Switch, they can just keep updating it, and it'll just keep getting better until the next generation of consoles.
Exactly, and then I feel like when the next generation comes out, honestly, just give us the same game if it's as good as it's looking like it's gonna be, just updated, you know?
True. Didn't hear anything about Metroid Prime 4.
That's a little disappointing.
Yeah. Didn't hear anything about their new online service, which I was very surprised about.
No DLC for Mario Odyssey.
Nothing about DLC for Mario Odyssey, which I am really disappointed about. Nothing about the 3DS at all, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, the 3DS still exists, but you can tell the Switch is Nintendo's priority now.
True.
Which is kind of disappointing. I love my 3DS. I play it daily still.
True. Not as big of a thing, but it's something that was interesting for me. They put out a new demo for Octopath Traveler, and they said that all of your save data from Octopath Traveler in this new demo will transfer over to the full game if you purchase it when it comes out next month. So I was very happy about that, because I think that game is very neat, and I would like to play more of it.
Yeah, I also thought, speaking of transferring data, that all amiibo data from Smash 4 will be transferable to Smash Ultimate.
Cool.
Yeah, that's great. I won't have to retrain all of my amiibos.
Part of me, and this is just something that I was kind of hoping for, there was no indication that this was going to happen. Part of me was really hoping that we would hear something about maybe, like, a system update for the Switch. Like, hey, we've updated the way, like, the visual style of, like, the front page looks of the game. I am still waiting for them to update that damn eShop, because it is fucking hell to navigate that thing. It is so hard to find anything you're looking for.
Look, the only eShop of Nintendo's that's ever looked decent at all to me was the 3DS.
I don't even care if it looks decent. It's like it's so hard to find anything on the Switch eShop, and it's just, oh god, like the Wii. I felt like the Wii's eShop was a lot easier to find stuff on, at least. I don't know, but that was Nintendo, like very Smash focused press conference, I thought.
It was definitely how much you liked it hinged on how much you wanted Smash.
Yeah, true.
But I don't know. The entire trailer, I was just all, or not trailer, the entire conference, I'm just all about it.
True. So, Swank, final thoughts on Nintendo?
I mean, like I said, Smash looks amazing. I cannot wait. Hollow Knight on Switch, good choice, needs to be there. Fortnite on Switch, I'm personally indifferent, but go for it. I just hope Sony gets their shit together.
They did like over 2 million downloads in a day of Fortnite on the Switch.
Well, did you hear about what happened with PS4 players who tried to connect their accounts to Switch?
Yeah, we talked about that earlier.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I don't know. I hope that gets fixed. Fire Emblem Three Houses looks awesome. Xenoblade 2 DLC, I mean, I'm sure it's good. And Super Mario Party, I don't know. It's all great. I'm super excited for everything on this list.
True. Bean, final thoughts on Nintendo?
Well, okay, I'm happy that a lot of titles are coming to the Switch. I think that's something Nintendo has lacked in the recent year, is having their titles on console. So I'm happy to see games come to the Switch. I'm happy to see Fortnite even player. Like it's really cool to see those things. I think Nintendo really missed out on a couple of they could have had, presenting like a new Metroid game or giving more Odyssey content, going into more of the services that you were talking about, Kyle. I feel like it was just a lot of missed opportunity. Like, they showed Smash. I'm excited for Smash, but that is kind of it for me. It just wasn't as great of a conference as compared to everything else. Not saying that it was bad, but
yeah. I definitely agree with you. You know, they did show off some first party stuff, but I did feel like they really swung hard into that third party thing, which, you know, like you said, has been a common criticism of Nintendo in the past, and I'm not saying that that's a bad thing for them to do. It just didn't feel like they're like kind of like what you said, Swank. This press conference very much hung in the balance of like, hey, or was contingent on the fact of how much do you really like Smash, and like, are you really anticipating that? And so that kind of, I think, I really like Smash Bros. As well, but I was not expecting that level of focus on Smash, especially like, hey, there's over 10,000 details and updates that we've made to this game. Now let's talk about like 100 of them right now. And I'm like, you could probably put that on a blog post. I don't need to see that right now. Maybe show me some Mario Party, or not Mario Party, or yeah, hell, show me more Mario Party. Show me some Metroid Prime 4. You know, tell me a little bit more about Nintendo, about the online services coming. But that's just kind of my final thoughts on Nintendo. And, you know, that was the last press conference. So now we're going to kind of go through and talk about ordering from 7 to 1, least favorite to favorite, how we felt about each press conference. Swank, why don't you go ahead and start?
Okay, so mine is a little biased, as you'll notice, but 7 was EA. It wasn't bad. I don't know. It didn't pique my interest a lot. A very close to that 7 was Square, which is surprising because of how much I love Square and everything that they do. It just wasn't a great conference in my opinion. 5, Bethesda, meh. 4, Microsoft. 3 was Ubisoft, which kind of surprised me. I wasn't expecting high. 2 was just Sony's awesome Spider-Man, Death Stranding, all of that. And then 1, because I Smash Brothers a lot, was Nintendo.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Austin, tell us your list.
My list is very different than yours. Like, at my 7, I put not that I don't like Nintendo. I just really wasn't impressed with a lot of the IPs that they were talking about.
Nintendo's conference was totally directed towards a certain group, and I am very much so a part of that group. I will not be offended by your ranking of Nintendo. Don't worry.
Yeah, like I'm excited for Smash. I'm excited that they're having more party titles, but that was really about it. My number 6 is Square Enix. Other than like Beyond and Good and Evil 2 and more Kingdom Hearts stuff, meh.
Beyond Good and Evil 2 is Ubisoft.
No, I'm sorry, that is my bad. Well, other than Kingdom Hearts 3, meh.
Yeah.
Alright, so Ubisoft had a couple of titles that I really liked. So I did like Beyond and Good and Evil 2, so that does fall into that category. I also am really excited for Assassin's Creed. I've been a follower of that series, so that's been high on my list.
Did you say that you put them at number 5, Ubisoft?
Yes. Yeah, I put Ubisoft at number 5. And number 4, I put EA. EA is learning from their mistakes. I feel like they had a good presence on stage. I feel like they're giving out a lot of content that people want now, whether that be the Star Wars games, whether that be like their sports games or other things like that. And my number... Oh, what were you saying, Nick?
Oh, I was gonna say, like, kind of like how you felt about EA is how you felt about like Nintendo and EA. I kind of had the opposite. Like, EA got a lot better. Yeah, there just wasn't really a lot that hooked me, I guess would be the right word.
Yeah,
that's fair.
I totally get that.
It's a fair.
Yeah, my number 3 was Sony. Seeing The Last of Us Part 2, and that was really neat. Seeing more play, seeing more Death Stranding is really cool. I don't have a PlayStation, so I'm probably not going to be playing any of these games here, but it's cool seeing that content still going. Not having a release date for a lot of their big titles kind of threw me off.
Yeah, definitely.
I go to E3 looking for games that I'm going to get to play soon. TM.
Sure, soon TM.
My number 2 is Microsoft. Microsoft came in swinging with tons of new titles that are going to be ready to play soon. There's a lot of indie development support that I'm really getting into. They're revamping Game Pass. Me having an Xbox and being in the ecosystem, I'm just really excited to see the future of all of that. I'm excited for the new Halo. I'm excited for the Gears of War that's coming out. I was excited to see more Fallout. And with that, my number 1 conference was the Bethesda conference. Like, I am very much so a Bethesda fanboy. I am a fan of most of the IP they had shown throughout their development. I was happy to see more of stuff from 6. That there's going to be an Elder Scrolls mobile game, which I'm probably going to play. Hearing that the new Elder Scrolls game is going to come out and Bethesda's new IP is going to come out within the coming years. I'm happy to know that's all in development. And I'm really just excited for Fallout 76. I'm maybe overhyping it, but that kind of won it for me.
That's fair enough. My list, I guess, is I'm not quite sure whose of y'all two's list mine is closer to, because it's very like the bottom half of my list is closer to Nick's, I think, and my top half is closer to Austin's. So for me, number 7 was Square. Honestly, Babylon's Fall, that was the only thing that really piqued my interest in that whole press conference. Obviously, like, the Kingdom Hearts stuff probably would have hyped me up more if it hadn't been the same trailer that they showed off in Microsoft the day before. like it would have won me over a little bit more, I think. I put EA at number 6, because there were only like 3 games of EA's press conference that really got me excited. And, Unravel 2, Sea of Solitude, and Anthem. Those 3 games were like, okay, cool. I'm on board with this. Bethesda, I put at number 5, because I am a big fan of the games that Bethesda puts out. I am excited to see what Wolfenstein Youngblood and Doom Eternal turn out to be, but that press conference didn't feel like it was something that was aimed towards me, and that's not a bad thing. That's just it just wasn't stuff I was looking for, I think. I put Nintendo at number 4, and number 4 and number 3 were very close for me. Nintendo, it was very Smash focused, and that is I like Smash a lot, and I like to see God, it was very focused on Smash, and a lot more than I thought it was going to, and I would have liked to see a little bit more, but that being said, I really liked some of the third-party stuff that they talked about, specifically Dragon Ball FighterZ, and finally getting Fortnite on Switch, where I think were good announcements and good gets to show, I think. Number 3, I put PlayStation, actually. I kind of like what you said, Austin. I was very... Not having release dates was a very weird thing. All 4 of those games that they chose to make their pillars, very solid games. They all look fantastic, and I want to play all 4 of those games. But it was... The pacing of the press conference itself felt very weird, and maybe that shouldn't be the basis of how I rank this. And but I don't know, the whole thing just felt off to me, but I really didn't enjoy seeing more of Death Stranding, Last of Us, and all those other games, so I put it at number 3. I actually put Ubisoft at number 2, which was a surprise to me, because I was like, I don't know how I was watching it. I was like, that was a solid press conference. I thought that was pretty good, but then the more I've been thinking about it, I was like, man, I really liked that Beyond Good and Evil 2 trailer. I really Assassin's Creed Odyssey didn't really do it for me, but just checking out The Division 2 won me over in a way that I really didn't think it was going to, with watching some of their stuff. And so I thought Ubisoft had a really, really solid press conference, and I enjoyed the hell out of it. And then of course that leads to number 1. I thought Xbox and Microsoft just fucking knocked it out of the park this year, and I think they really had to. I thought they brought it in a way they needed to, showing off a bunch of world premiere footage of games, and the announcement. I thought it was very cool, the announcement of, hey, we've acquired 4 new studios, and we were forming a brand new one. They won me over with Forza Horizon 4, which, actual regular racing games and driving games are not really my thing. I'm really a Mario Kart kind of guy, but that game looks so good, and I want to play that game, and I don't like those types of games, so I mean that says something to me in comparison to something like Fallout game, where I'm I like Fallout games, but watching the stuff for Fallout 76 didn't grip me in the way that I thought it would. So it's kind of the opposite effect that I got on that, and I love everything that Xbox is doing right now, and I think that they're doing some really, really cool shit. And so I was going into some man, I own an Xbox One. And I'm I'm gonna be as non-biased as possible. I'm gonna be I want to see what they have to show, and I'm gonna call them on bullshit if they're not gonna I'm I'm not going to be the type of person that's Xbox is just as good as PlayStation, and no. I mean Xbox has been getting their ass handed to them in this console war by PlayStation for years now, since the consoles launched. And I still think at this current point in time, even with watching the Xbox press conference, I think if you're looking for a game that has better first party exclusives, you should probably still go with a PlayStation. But I think that the stuff that Xbox talked about this year in their press conference set them up to be back on track towards actually having a fighting chance and in a head-to-head fight against PlayStation. In my humble opinion, that is.
No, I totally get that. Xbox did come swinging in this year.
But yeah, so I mean that's our personal lists and our takes on everything that happened at E3 this year. Please leave a comment down below and let us know what you thought of E3 this year. Who was your favorite press conference? I think that's going to do it for this week's episode of the YDN cast, our E3 post E3 special. We'll be back next week with a regular episode, back to our normal format. Austin and Swank, thank you, of course, for being here.
Hey, happy to be here.
Absolutely, my man. I continued to be here and will continue to be here. I enjoy the hell out of it.
I've been wanting to talk about E3 for so long.
Same, dude. Same. But until next week, guys, we'll see you later.
Bye, guys.
Catch you on the flip side.